to order. If we could do a roll call, starting with Nikki.
Nicole Matthews, board member.
Keith Pettit, board member.
Sarah Capolino, board member.
Alex Crawford, board member.
Joe Margaitis, board secretary.
Ali Schmeisel, vice chair.
Heather Headed, chair.
Tom Grant, superintendent.
Don Briere, director of educational services.
Caitlin Shillard, business manager.
Thank you. And before we pledge, I'd just like to welcome Keith back to the board. It's nice to have you back, and welcome Sarah Capolino to our board. They both got appointed by the Board of Selectmen and will be serving terms on our board for 1 year and 3 years, so welcome.
Thank you.
If we could just stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So next on our agenda is recognition, and we are going to recognize tonight and honor our former board members, Amanda Veneziano and Diana Morales. Unfortunately, due to illness and a work conflict, they weren't able to join us tonight, and so we will honor them. If you want, I want to make sure we do that at a future date. So student liaison report. I see we have someone with us this evening. Again, it's nice to see you again.
Mazzy, do you want to give your report?
Good evening. Thank you for having me back tonight for tonight's Board of Education meeting. I'm here to update our Hebron community on the happenings of both GHS and EHS. Pre-K. Pre-K friends will be using clues to catch a gingerbread man who is hiding somewhere in the school. Kindergarten. Kindergartners have been reading a variety of gingerbread stories and will build a gingerbread house this month. They are also learning about different holiday traditions. First grade. First graders are preparing for their holiday concerts on December 14th. Second grade. Second graders are becoming experts on adding and subtracting bigger numbers. They are also learning on how to tackle challenging words in their reading. Third grade. Third graders have begun to work on nonfiction reading and informational writing. Students will become experts as they read, write, and teach others about various topics. Fourth grade. Fourth graders have developed and published informational writing pieces on a variety of topics from Fortnite and fidgets to how to care for horses and how to play football. Fifth grade. Fifth graders visited the CT Science Center and became experts in various science topics. It was great, very hands-on field trip. Sixth grade. Sixth graders attended their first boat trip with Project O, where they studied abiotic and biotic factors of Long Island Sound. Cares and Choose Love. The week of November 14th, HES focused on the second Choose Love word, courage. During our Courage Week, students were involved with creating superhero logos, writing letters to their heroes, creating growth mindset pages, and focusing on ways they can show courage each day. We also had a theme day where students and staff members dressed as different kinds of heroes that we encounter each day. It's winter concert season in the music department. On Tuesday, our 3rd and 4th grade courses had their first performances of the school year. On Wednesday, December 14th, the 5th and 6th grade musical groups will be performing for their winter concerts. This included the 5th and 6th grade choruses, 5th grade band, 6th grade band, a cappella, and the jazz band. Students are excited to perform all of their hard work. We are excited to finish out December with lots of more learning and growing. We'd like to wish our community a very happy holiday and New Year.
Thank you so much, Maisie. That was I really like that. Can I ask, did you dress up as a superhero?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. I was just going to ask what you were. Thank you so much. I appreciate that report. You're welcome to stay. You're welcome not to. I know it's a late night, so it's totally up to you, but we really appreciate hearing all the happenings. Thank you so much. Thank you. So next on our agenda, we have our budget forum and public comments. Before we begin, the Hebron Board of Education values the public comment period as it represents an opportunity for members of the public to express their views to the board on matters within the board's authority. Procedurally, public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person, and citizens will be asked to identify themselves, All comments must be directed to the board and not to any individual board member or individual member of the administration. The board and the administration will not respond to questions or engage in dialogue during the public comment period. The board and administration will determine when and how to address questions that arise during the public comment period. So this evening we had sent out a message to families if they wanted to come to speak about the budget. We thought it would be nice to actually hear from families at the beginning of the process. We're doing it a little different this year where we're meeting and doing a collaborative approach with the superintendent and faculty and staff and his team and the board and resource manager, and then come to the full board with a recommended budget. And we'd love to hear from folks if there's anyone here that wants to make a public comment. And for anyone that wasn't able to join us this evening, we also have an email that will go to all the board if you send it to budget@hebron.k12.ct.us. I think that was in the email that went out as well. So that being said, is there any public comment this evening? All right, so we'll move on for now. We hope to hear from folks, even if through email, that'd be great. Our district advancement plan update is a technology plan, so I'm guessing that's Mr. McKinney.
He's so excited to present.
It's hard to present and run a technology at the same time, isn't it?
It'll be a challenge.
It's a good thing he's the technology director.
It is. I have faith, complete faith.
My goal was not to put myself on camera, but that has been vetoed. This is the 5-year technology advancement plan, which again, the gentle nudging of administration exists now. I'd just like to say it's not, when you read it and you have it in front of you, it's not a budget document, but it can be used as like a roadmap for how to get to where we want to go. It's got processes in it, and then kind of as you go in, more details down at the bottom. And I think it's a nice little, I think a side effect is that it kind of shows some of the things that are under technology that maybe you don't think of. All right, so there's basically 3 main goals here, and it's like 3 buckets, and I generally sort of see it as staff, student, and classroom devices being like front of house, things that are in the hands of our staff and our students, things that you see every day. And then the other 2 buckets are more of a back of house, where we have infrastructure, just all the wiring in the walls, the closets, the Wi-Fi access points, and security as well, which all kind of runs back to those same points. Security is even includes our phones, panic buttons, cameras, walkies, and our network is, like I said, the wiring, but servers as well. A lot of stuff is in the cloud, but there's still some stuff that's just not really appropriate for the cloud, and that stuff lives on site here. And I just want to take a second to say that these goals, they really aren't independent of each other. They're all pretty interlinked. Like our network and classroom buckets are what feeds instruction here. The files that teachers are making, morning meetings, different websites and programs that we use, and security that's running through the network, door entry and cameras and such, and like even security. I've been focusing on physical, but there's also a big data security portion of it too that falls in that same bucket. So like Google Classroom, we've got instruction that happens there, but we've also got student directory information, names, assignments, and their work. So that's another important sort of keep it secure electronically portion. All right. So the goal for goal one here, at the highest level, is keep everything running, minimal downtime, minimal frustration. We do not want technology to get in the way of learning. We want it to enhance learning and just kind of, we want people to forget about it. Like it's just there and it just works. That's basically the high level for really any of these goals. And then as you read on, we've got kind of how we budget towards that goal, how we get there over the next few years. And as you can see at the bottom too, we've got sort of implementation, year one, and then next year we'll add a 2, 3, 4, and kind of mark off what's going according to plan and what's not going according to plan. On infrastructure.
Dave, I'm going to interrupt for a sec. So you have the actual plan in front of you and the presentation document. So it may be helpful for you to be looking at the plan document as well. Because you'll see that, like, for example, in goal 1, you'll see there's different sub parts of that goal. And you'll see that some connections to our budget conversations.
And I do appreciate there's 14 pages there, I believe. I'll give you 30 seconds to read it all, maybe, But I fully expect, we may come back to this January, 6 months from now, a year from now, Goal 2, infrastructure, has got a specific project that I do not want to lose track of. There is 2A, which is moving a firewall off-site. It's not particularly a big project, but it's something that's pretty important to me. And then just sort of putting in here plans for maintenance and upgrades, and again, kind of how we get there through the budgeting process. And then goal 3, you'll notice there's some real repetition here in these last 3 slides, but same thing. Plans, procedures for testing of our security equipment that falls under the technology purview anyway. And a similar 3B in goal 3, part B, for testing digital, like our backups and such. Just writing it down, making it part of the procedure, and as you can see at the bottom here, just tracking it as well. And then, like I've said twice already, just sort of how we get there through the budget. And like I said, I appreciate there's a lot there, but if you have any questions now, I'm happy to answer them. There's also a glossary at the bottom. The security portion was the part I actually enjoyed writing the most. And Caitlin helped me immensely in the other 2 areas. But I'm open to any questions if you have any.
So
Keith Bennett?
I'm sorry, I wasn't anticipating being the first guy to be the evil person with questions.
The new guy.
You have, or I happen to notice that in goal 1, one of your indicators of success is each administrator has a laptop and a desktop.
Yep.
Why would we have a duplication of devices when we could go to docking?
We've just personally kind of gotten away from docking for some of them. I understand your question and talk perfectly, but the workflow for some of our administrators they're just set up in a specific way in their office, and then they're working on the road at home or in meetings that are not in their office. But they just spend, a lot of time there. They have it kind of set up they have it set up the way they like. And it's with a desktop there and a laptop. And that's not necessarily everyone's preference, but at the administrative level, we'll kind of set it up to your preference.
I can speak from personal experience. I started wanting just a docking station, and the budgeting documentation that I need to prepare, the laptop did not have the whatever it needs to be able to run and create this lovely budget document that you need. So
No,
somewhere in the
I
middle of
definitely
December,
agree.
my first year.
Working in finance, the standard, contract laptop is junk. It doesn't work for finance professionals. But, even if you spend a little bit extra on that specific administrator, duplication of devices, because even a desktop provided for a financial administrator, we need to have, a little excess capacity to be able to run some of the files that they're running. I don't know, I'm just not a huge fan of duplication of devices.
Gotcha.
Dave, did we apply for the P-shaped grant?
We did last year, and that's where some of the equipment in this room came from. We are planning to, I know just opened, and we will this year, and the goal is to try to get, I want to say smart boards, but panels, like smart board panels for our classrooms. I'd like to start a multi-year project in replacing those. And I'm not sure what we'll get from that. I feel like all the schools are coming onto that this year, and they probably, my guess is there'll be less money for each school going forward on that grant.
So I just have a comment and a question, So I really love what you said about just having this vision of, goal of yours, or, is to eliminate frustration. Because frustration can absolutely impact learning, right? And decreases productivity, and it just puts you in a bad mood. So I really appreciate that you focused on that and the importance of that.
Thank
and how
you.
important that is. And how difficult that must be for you on a given day to aim for like zero frustration for all of the students and staff. So I really, from a mental health and a wellness perspective, I just want to acknowledge that. I just think it's wonderful the way that you phrased it. I don't know anything about firewalls or anything, but I'm just curious. So like, what's the benefit of moving the firewall? You mentioned it, you'd prefer it not to be on site.
I'm glad you asked, actually. So that project is, ideally, we would move our firewall, which is located at the town library here, into a secure data center. And the town library's been improved. It now has power redundancy there. But it's also in a room that a lot of people, volunteers, are just moving through. That's one reason. So we can move it off-site. And when it goes off-site, it'll be at one of CEN's, which is the Connecticut Education Network's data centers. It'll probably be somewhere around Yukon. I think they have one in stores or around that area. But so one is just the physical location and the security of it. Two is this will be a professional data center, which will allow for a lot more redundancy. So if the firewall goes down right now, we have to go to the library and either reboot it or replace it. There's a spare we have, but it's not gonna flip like that, where it will at once it's moved off-site. And the third reason is if we ever find ourselves like the victim of a DDoS attack, which is denial of service, where it's just billion computers are just flooding your address for some reason. Some child does not want to take a test. A sixth grader does not want to take a SBAC test that day. When you're further up the pipe, it's harder to take us down because the filtering happens where there's 10 gigs of bandwidth, whereas if it happens here in Hebron, there's only 1 gig of bandwidth. So you've got kind of 10 times the capacity to fight it. And it's about the same cost as well. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to
Oh.
thank Mr. McKinney and Mr. Sklar for their work on this. This has been in the district advancement plan to create this 5-year plan for a couple of years, and COVID definitely slowed down our original goal. We kind of wanted this a year ago, but the work that Dave had to do over the course of the pandemic definitely slowed down when we originally wrote this goal. We hope to have something similar for facilities. I would love to see that around this time next year. Really the facilities study to be done to inform that plan. But I think this is a great step forward.
Thank you so much. That was great. You did a great job. All right, next is approval of minutes. First is the Resource Management Committee meeting. We actually didn't have a quorum for that meeting, so I just asked the chair of the committee, Joe Argaitis, if you accept the minutes as presented.
Wasn't there a quorum because of the number of board members currently serving at that time?
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. He's right. I forgot that we only had 5 board members at that, on the board at that time. So there was a quorum, so I take that back. Thank you.
Yeah, I think so.
No, I forgot. So that being said, I would ask for a motion to approve the Resource Management Committee meeting minutes of November 10th, 2022, and the regular meeting minutes of November 10th, 2022.
So moved.
Thank you. So is there a second?
Second.
Ally seconds. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Sarah and Keith abstained because they weren't here on the board at that time. Thank you. Motion passes. Superintendent's report. Dr. Bailey.
Thank you. All right, so a couple highlights from my written report. In my written report, at the time I wrote this, I said that we were preparing for a soft launch of our family-friendly curriculum overviews. Well, those have been launched as of this week. So if you head to the website and go under the district banner, you'll find a sub-page for our curriculum documents, and you can take a look at those. We're going to more formally launch them in the next edition of Bright Futures. We'll do that the week leading up to holiday break. And I definitely want to give a shout out to Julia Clark and Allie Caniff, who did the lion's share of the work on those documents. I think they're really, really well done. We completed our school messenger improvements, so this is something that we've had in the district advancement plan as well. But we've completed all of the enhancements that we had planned to do in terms of switching away from robocalls for weather emergencies, et cetera. I just write just to email in school messenger and have those school messenger preferences available for people. And I said here that we're planning to launch online registration soon, but that is been softly launched as well. So Mr. McKinney's been very busy with the website as of late. Also, something in the district advancement plan of note, the intervention handbook for behavior and social emotional health is complete. It could be paralleled that on the academic handbook that was completed last year. We talked about this a little bit in our last, not tonight, but the previous month's resource management meeting. But I plan to begin our artist in residence program, so another district advancement plan initiative, without the need of general fund assistance, because we have some historical student activity funds to begin this program. We're thinking about starting it in the area of music, specifically drumming, with some former UConn students. Moving on to COVID operations, another month of no updates to give, which is certainly an accomplishment. We sort of celebrated that last month, that there was the first month of no updates under COVID. And then moving on to other items of interest, the Board of Finance did approve access to our non-lapsing account, essentially by not taking action, but noting that they didn't have to if they didn't want to, that under the legislation, they could simply just let us know that we have access, which they have accomplished through their meeting minutes. So once those are approved, we will for sure be all set with that, but I watched the meeting after the fact, and I think we're all set now. That's a forever all set unless they take some other action, I guess, later. But so we'll archive those minutes in our legal file and have those at our disposal. We spoke about this in our resource management meeting tonight, but the Regional 8 Health Insurance Consortium set the initial insurance premium renewal at 6%. So we will watch that month to month to see how our claims are going over the course of the year, and I do expect that that will come down. As of December 1st, our total enrollment was 704 students compared to 689 this time last year. So our enrollment continues to be up. 704 is the highest we have been. Last year we had a high of 703 towards the end of the school year, so we are over that. I also want to note that our magnet school enrollment is down to 4, I think actually 5 students. I think we uncovered another one and then since the enrollment report was done, but that's down from a high of 12. So we continue to track down in magnet school, which is definitely a budget savings. And I think it's a testament to, we certainly have some students return from time to time. I think this was driven more from a family moving out of town. But I think that we are also, by highlighting our world language expansion, we're helping families decide to stay in before going out in the first place. So I definitely think that our investment in the world language expansion at GHS has paid for itself just in the savings in magnet students reflected here. We had our second district safety and security and safe school climate meeting at the end of November. We continue to focus our time on training being conducted around security and safety enhancements. And that concludes my report for this month.
Thank you very much. All right, next is the business manager's report. Mrs. Shlar.
So you have already seen the presentation of the 5-year tech plan. That was, buttoning that up was taking a lot of the month of November for us. The other big project that I want to highlight here is the online registration has been completed and is launched and ready for our families. This was an important timeline for us specifically because we're going to be beginning kindergarten registration really soon. So we're excited to have the online platform for that. Under facilities, of course, were several items here. Some of it relates to budgeting and then just general maintenance. But one item I want to highlight is towards the bottom of that section. We completed our 5-year radon testing at both schools, and the results there indicate no further action is required. So we're happy about those results there. We spoke briefly in Resource Management Committee about meeting with DATCO to just discuss, getting messages out to families as soon as possible and, clear about impacts to runtime. So I think we've seen some improvements over the last several weeks, so I'm happy there. We continue to clear the buses around, for 25, which has been good so far this year. We're happy about the buses running. Almost all buses are running every day lately. So hopefully things continue with that trend into the winter months. The next section of my budget all relates to our all of the budget reports that you have as enclosures following. So our student activity report activity is there. Our food service budget report, our preschool budget report, and are all included there, and I can certainly answer any questions that you have for me there. The one highlight I want to say about the food service program, I've been sort of talking about it through the year, but we're in the final month of our free meal program. So starting in January, we move back to paid. We've communicated that with families several times throughout the year, and have been working with families who who might need to apply for free or reduced lunch status. So Trish has been helping us to process some of those, so that families are ready to go. And we've seen a lot of families adding onto their lunch accounts. So I feel like the message has gotten out and parents are ready to, to start paying for those meals come January. We are still, last month I spoke about a mental health grant that we had submitted, and we are still awaiting feedback on the status of that grant. Dr. Breer and I anticipate hearing before probably we meet again next month, so hopefully we'll have an update for you on that grant. And then the second page of my report here, we've been meeting with the auditors, providing information as we go. I'm in my third audit since I've began working here, and we've extended the first 2 years, and the goal this year is not to have to file an extension. So we're a couple of weeks away. We think we'll have everything wrapped up, which will be nice to have a little bit of not audit time in January. So we're just waiting on the final word, but I think we're in pretty good shape right now. And then the final enclosure you have is our year-to-date expenditure report for the general fund. We just keep looking at that bottom line of uncommitted funding, and it's $122,000 right now, which is about 1.1% of our overall budget. We know that there are some things that just remain unencumbered, facilities needs throughout the year, any substitute costs, any additional hours for custodial overtime, or additional time that we may need our paraprofessionals working or something like that. Just those are costs that we anticipate but are never encumbered. So we'll just keep an eye on that. As Dr. Bird discussed, we have access to our non-lapsing account for our known overage in our special ed outplacement line. So should we need to access that funding at the end of the year, we will. And that is the end of my report.
I'm just going to add there that especially for new board members, our non-lapsing account balance is slightly more than the 214. We don't have a lot more, but enough to know that we can continue to operate without needing to seek a supplemental appropriation today. The other thing that we know is that we will get some amount of excess cost reimbursement from the state to help offset that 214. So that'll bring that number down. We just don't know how much we'll get at this point. Typically I've heard, I want to say in February or March. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll continue to watch that.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions? This is Sheila. All right. Thank you. Next is the chair's report. So I spoke to most of this earlier, but we can welcome 2 new members. Keith Pettit, actually returning to the board. Sarah Capolino, the Board of Selectmen appointed them last Thursday at their meeting. So welcome again. I also mentioned the budget process earlier during public comment, but we welcome any feedback either through public comment at our meetings or via email. I do, our board attorney, Jessica Ritter, is able to do a Board of Ed roles and responsibilities / orientation for new board members, as well as a refresher for us, which is always nice. And she's able to do that on Thursday, January 5th at 7 p.m. So I'm hoping most members, since it's a Thursday, are available for that time. And I believe we'll have a resource management meeting before that to do some of the budget work as well. And that is all I have right now for the chair's report. I will say to Sarah and Keith, who is aware, but we do have committees, which we're about to do committee updates, and if you want to think about and then maybe let me know or let us know next meeting in January what committees you'd like to be a part of. Maybe is there, with your background, maybe student growth would be appropriate. If you want to do policy or budget.
I refuse to do policy.
Resource management. But there's definitely committees there. We do have a bylaw that says that all board members have to be a member of at least one committee. So please let me know when you can, when you'd like to be a part of. We do have liaison positions as well. We have a PTA liaison that's open. I don't know if Mr. Pettit is interested in that liaison appointment. That one's open. I do school readiness, as Dr. Briere could probably tell you. Sometimes with work conflict, I can't always attend at that time. It's at 3:30, so that is one that's available as well. So just throwing that out there so you can think about it for next meeting. Okay, so committee updates. Policy committee, we have not met since we've done the last second reads and voted on the last policies. Resource management committee, Joe Margaitis.
Thank you. So we did meet this evening, and started working on the budget for this upcoming year. There's going to be gravity issues out there. There's contractual agreements, enrollment's increasing, preschool, the special ed needs of the district. There's facility issues. So I highly encourage anyone in the community to email us, echoing what Heather was saying earlier. But this will be an ongoing thing. Like Heather said, our next meeting will be January 5th, followed up on January 12th, and then finally February 9th.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Student growth and district advancement, Nikki Matthews is the chair.
Yeah.
Communications and community engagement committee isn't met. Negotiations committee, we can leave it on, but we have successfully collaborated with both the unions and have ratified contracts. So we are not meeting anytime soon. PTA liaison, we currently are in need of one. School readiness, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to attend, so I would ask Dr. Briere, is there any update you can provide?
Sure. Yeah. Met on 11/29. It was a quick meeting. No state updates this month. Tuition is all up to date, and that was it.
Thank you. And Alice for wellness, no, did not meet. All right. We didn't have any old business on there. Is there any new business that any board members would like to see on the next agenda? At this time? No? All right. Board member comments. Does anyone have any comments at this time? All right. So next on the agenda is discussion and proposed for executive session regarding the superintendent's evaluation. So I would ask for a motion to move into executive session at 7:40 p.m. To discuss the superintendent's evaluation and inviting Superintendent Dr. Tom Baird to attend portions of the executive session.
So moved. Seconded.
Thank you. Joe moved, Keith seconds. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? My motion passes to move into executive session. 7:47. Right, tell me when we're good. All right, so we are out of executive session and it declares back in open session at 8:49 PM. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Joe Margaitis, Ally seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Adjourned 8:50.
Adjourned for
8:49. Oh, 8:50.